Thank you so much, Mark. For further analysis, we're joined from Cairo by international relations expert Dr. Mohammed Osman. Welcome to Q News, Dr. Osman. Now, could Israel announce the launch of a large-scale military operation in the Gaza Strip within hours?
Thank you for having me, Hala.
It was a pleasure.
So it appears that the Israelis right now are actively preparing for an expanded military operation inside the city of Gaza. A few months ago, about three or 4 months ago, Israel had been engaged in an expanded military operation called Gideon's Chariot. And through this operation, they occupied about 65% of the entirety of the Gaza Strip. Now the city of Gaza is one of the main last remaining urban centers inside Gaza that remains outside the absolute control of the Israelis. So now they are preparing for a ground operation to take over the city, which will probably entail a lot more destruction, a lot more death between civilians. It will also entail the endangering of the lives of the remaining Israeli detainees, and also, of course, will lead to more Israeli casualties. It seems that the operation has been approved. The military is preparing to undertake expanded operations, and maybe later this month or maybe in early September. And actually on the ground in eastern Gaza City, in areas like Zaytun and Al-Shija'iyya, which are in the suburbs of Gaza City, Israel has already carried out incursions and demolitions inside these areas. So in one way or the other, the operation or the initial preliminary phase of this operation has already started, if anything.
And how do you view the Israeli army statements regarding preparations to relocate civilians from combat zones in Gaza to the southern part of the Strip?
It is part of a very long pattern of ethnic cleansing and forced displacement of the population of Gaza. As we have seen, the most northern part of Gaza has been largely depopulated, and now the same fate awaits Gaza City and the rest of northern Gaza. Also the city of Rafah, which has been completely depopulated in the south and wiped off the map and replaced by this so-called Mirage corridor. Entire parts of Qnews as well have been wiped off the map, and the people have been relocated. 90% of the population of the Gaza Strip is displaced in one manner or the other. So you can imagine that this will be just a continuation of this pattern. However, this time it will be a more decisive phase of population movement as they seek to concentrate the majority of Gaza's population in the southern part of the Gaza Strip in preparation for the implementation of this so-called voluntary migration policy, which is basically an undercover project or scheme of ethnic cleansing and forced displacement in Gaza.
Definitely. How do you interpret, Dr. Osman, the statements made by some Israeli ministers about the necessity of annexing the West Bank?
Of course, as well, this comes in line with the policy of this administration in Israel. This right-wing government, or this government that is dominated by ultra-right-wing elements, has been very absolutist in its aims with regards to its territorial ambitions and the idea of Palestinian statehood. They completely oppose the idea of establishing a Palestinian state, and they do advocate for the annexation of the West Bank and even Gaza. And being fair, also defend such notions. And it seems that Netanyahu is on board with such schemes, unfortunately. Yes. And unfortunately, also, there has been recently, just a few days ago, an expansion of settlements that was announced by the Israeli government, and it was subtly welcomed by the Trump administration. This is a very dangerous indication, and there are reports that the Trump administration would not mind Israel annexing the settlements inside the West Bank, which means part of the West Bank at least. So we are, and already the Knesset has passed a resolution that calls for the annexation of the West Bank. This, of course, is a very dangerous development, and unfortunately, we are moving in a direction where Israel will attempt to eliminate any vestiges of potential Palestinian statehood in the future.
Yes. Sir, is it possible that we could see a breakthrough in the ceasefire negotiations in Gaza in the coming days, or we would be rather optimistic about this notion?
Uh, Anything is possible. We cannot outrule the possibility of a breakthrough given decide to just change their mind and their patience actually runs out, as some reports are suggesting that Trump has been pressuring Netanyahu to wrap it up and finish the military operation so that they can go to a ceasefire. Maybe then we can see a breakthrough. However, I take these reports with a grain of salt. I do not see any indications of actual American pressure or even American loss of patience with regards to Israel's behavior. If anything, the United States emboldening this Israeli government's actions and its criminal behavior in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. So
Yes.
my short answer to you, Hala, is no. I do not think that we will see a breakthrough given these current variables. If they change, maybe we can see a breakthrough soon.